Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the data bender from Qubit. Let me thank Qubit for sending this unit. I'm really having fun playing with it, and I decided to do a patch, and maybe we go through a few other examples using mostly Qubit stuff. So right now you are listening to the Surface and the Chord. They go into the mixer here, the FACO mixer, and then the audio signal goes into the data bender. There's a touch of emitter, Desmodus Versio and Melotus Versio from Noise Engineering. So before going on, as usual, some way you can support me. A little. You can, of course, subscribe to this channel, share this page. You can buy from the affiliate link down below, or you can become a Patreon, where I usually go deeper, and today I think I will go create another patch from scratch, and I will publish there the full procedure. Okay, first let me say that lately, in the last few weeks, I'm really enjoying this way of playing modular, in which I create a sort of soundscapes or material that I would use as sample for ambient performances, and every day I just record something. Mostly is sort of generative things, because in this case I have the marbles that is sequencing the CV of just the surface, and rather than playing notes or putting my own sequences, I let the machine do everything. I'm enjoying though a lot to add the data bender lately, because it's created this sort of glitchiness and how would you say, something that is you don't expect, that it's very nice. Let's go through what's happening here, okay? And maybe it's interesting to hear how it works with just the two elements separate. So let's start with the surface, and I will kill any effects going on. So right now, surface is on a first mode. As you know, it has different sound, and I'm using this one. It's marble, is clocked by Pamela's, and it does its own thing, like random, generative, whatever you want to call sequences. So, data bender. What it is, it's a sort of module that play with all the glitchiness, the broken circuit, all the tape error and stuff that can happen with the bent circuit, with the old tape recorders. So it's interesting because it adds a lot of flavors, and used it subtly. It's pretty interesting, and I really like to add a touch of it, because it's really give more flavor to the entire sound. So it's composed by, I would say, 4 main parts, and this is how I got it. Somehow you have a time and repeats. The time, basically, it's a buffer sampler, so it will sample the incoming audio, and you can clock. As you can see, this time is clocked. You have 2 modes. It's one internal clock mode and external clock mode, and now it's clocked by Pamela. Repeats basically shorten the length of the buffer and create a repetition of what you hear. So let's just first hear this main thing. As you can hear, with time, you tell the data bender how fast and how many times it will sample the incoming audio. And with repeats, in a sort of a granular sampler kind of things, you decide how small is the splice. So right now, we are hearing that there was some bending happening because I was CV using CV for that, sorry, so I just remove it. So this would be the effect, the basic effect. Then you have 3 more knobs here. Of course, this is the mix, full wet and dry. And then you have bend, break, and corrupt. Depending on the mode that you are, because Data Bender has 2 modes, a macro mode, which I prefer and I always use in a micro mode, both very interesting. Let's work first in macro. So bend, you turn on by pressing, or you can turn on with a gate. And this basically is the potentiometer that add the effect. You can, of course, modulate it with any CV, using CV, and turn it on and off with a gate. The bend, what it does, it's sort in this case the tape part of the Data Bender. It's where it behaves like a tape recorder, a tape machine, so you can hear the lower pitch tape, higher pitch, and sometimes it will reverse the tape. Also stereo, you hear how it separates the stereo. You can, there's some setting mode where you can decide how the stereo behave. We won't go through that because we just listen. Huawei beard. And so this is bend. Of course, all of this command works together depending on the time. But as you can hear, it's already very interesting, and it's very interesting in also with a boring sound. So let's hear with chord. Chord, the out of chord is directly inside my mixer. So this would be the sound. And you can hear, without any ADSR, anything, modulation on the chord, you have just this interesting thing going on. And these are the 2 things together. Cool, right? That's it. Let's keep going. So that was bend. Now break. Break has 2 different modes. And basically it's the break that would be like, it had this silence and every time I do a video my cat destroys something, right? As you can hear, to a point that it can become really breaking the sound. Even in this case you can gate or CV it, so you can modulate with anything. And it's interesting, it had another layer of rhythmical stuff happening on. And the last is corrupt, that has 3 modes. And this is the first one. This is the second one. And the third one is a soft clipping distortion. Again, you can modulate it. Then you have a freeze button. Let's say you have all things going on. If you freeze, Data Bender will not record any more audio. So now you can play and just play with the buffer that has already recorded. It could be interesting to evolve from this patch to another sound and then you unfreeze. If the Data Bender is fully dry and you press freeze, it goes fully wet. Pretty interesting, right? Let's hear with the chord. There's some buffer from the previous recording. The tempo goes with division, so you You can see by moving when it becomes gold, it means that is a new division engaged. Okay, this is what about the macro mode. The micro mode works a little differently, and each control, for example, the band control, now you have two different modes. One is reverse tape and one is forward tape. And also break and corrupt works in a different way. I think in the micro mode, you can go more in depth with the effects and get a little more tone out of it. I prefer the macro mode because this is what I'm really looking forward to. This adding something more to a simple sequence. Then you can start sequencing. From example, now I'm using marbles to sequence the CV of band. Same, you can sequence CV, modulate. I need a bigger cable. The time, for example, let's see what happened. Much. I'm using a Pamela again to change the time. Or you can use an LFO too. Weird. That said, I love then in series adding few more effects, and right now what my heart is set up is the two noise engineering stuff. I'm having the Melotus Versio, that is another granular processing unit, and then the Desmodus, that is a reverb. Now I'm modulating the corruption with a LFO. So as you can hear, the sound gets heavily distorted in waves. Beautiful, right? So my music is generally based on a simple chord over and over. I don't do a lot of harmonic progression. Actually, I don't do any of them. And so for me, this is an interesting way to create pads that I will use later on, maybe with my Vermona playing on top of. For example, I really like this one. And I will save some of this sound for Patreon friends that can have as a download and use it as sample. Now, I'm not going complex and sequencing anything here because this was mostly about the qubit stuff, but I'd say that these, I think, show showcase enough how this guy work. Of course, you can go in uncharted territory and get very weird things happening. For me, it's a beautiful thing to use subtly. like this. Here, I mean, for me, this is already a nice composition that can be something by itself, but can be used for many other things. All right, now I'm gonna unpatch everything and go for a new full patch, and I will publish that on Patreon. For you guys, I will just show you what's gonna happen. All right, stay tuned. Okay, friends, here it's what we got starting from scratch, another patch where Marble is sequencing everything, and we are using Just Friend for some modulation on strike, and Sadar that it's doing some modulation on an envelope on chord using the Tangle Quartet as an ADSR. And then I have this button that will trigger corrupt and the distortion coming in, and this other button that will change the tone of the Desmodus Versio. Hear it. Nice. If you want to hear disengaging anything, let's hear it. So this is the basic thing. Nice. No, not really. It's very boring. But this is the data bender coming in. And then we had some Melotus. And here some Desmodus. Had some distortion. Had some brilliance. Really cool. Now another step could be to sample this in the morphagene and maybe have a low drone going on. But that's for another video, right? Okay, so that's about it for today. I really enjoy the qubit stuff. I'm starting getting into it a lot, and right now I'm mostly using these three items here: chord, data bender, and surface, and with the noise engineering. I think it's a real great team right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I will see you next week. Have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Ciao!